Who here considers themselves a leader?
I knew that to maintain my integrity as a leader,
Characteristics of leaders
I had to take responsibility.
who are thriving and what they do differently.
Welcome to the Everyday School Leadership Supported podcast series. My name is Fran Palukai, and in this series, I speak with school leaders from across Europe about a variety of topics based on research cards developed by Loes van Wessem, Janette Kuipers, and others. These research cards function as practical tools that you can use to tackle everyday challenges within your organization.
All right. Welcome everyone to this podcast in which we are going to talk about teachers and the impact that teachers have on our children, and even more importantly, the impact that school leaders can have on the learning of our teachers. Because a good teacher is a teacher that keeps developing, that keeps learning. That is the best for the education for the child. And I am joined here today by Janette and Ben. And I want to ask you guys a few questions from your experience on how you empower your teachers to keep learning. So maybe the first question, just to start it off, is what does this topic, what does it make you feel, the learning of teachers? Ben?
I think one of the issues that I encounter in my school is that teachers have to get used to working in a team for the benefit of our students. So it's more a group effort instead of an individual effort. And in the Netherlands, a lot of secondary schools are organized between subjects. Like there's a subject German or French teachers, and they organize their lessons for their children. But it's more. Teaching is more than only teaching German or French or mathematics. We want to prepare our students for success in later life, so that we require other efforts. And in order to think about these issues and the values that we want to give our students to be successful in later life, we need to at least facilitate the exchange of ideas in order to develop our education. And that's quite a difficult project, because sometimes it does interfere with our individual interests as a subject teacher. It's not about our subjects, it's about the whole package.
It's about transcending just your own subject.
Yeah.
And you said the teachers have to get used to. Is that because it's a new thing, or is that something of the past years that they have to get used to working together?
In my school, it's a new thing. Like we have a school plan developed for a period of 4 years, and we have a couple of themes. Like for instance, we don't learn only within the walls of the school and within the school schedule. Learning can take 24 hours a day, and also outside of the school. And in order to facilitate this process, we need to be more open. It's not about a teacher in front of the class, but it's also students moving out of the school, going into companies and learning in company, in organizations, in cities, outside of the school. So it needs broadening our minds in order to facilitate this new view.
Thank you. And Janette?
Yes, for me, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I'm a school leader of a primary school, and the changes which go on in education, in the mindset of teachers, but also in the general development in education all over the world, people have to renew themselves, to innovate, and I think if you, as a school leader, give that possibility for teachers to see that they want to learn, because they see they have to do more and to stay in line with the developments in society or in education. So my teachers are just talking about that. That's what they say. They do it together, and then they say, "But I would like to learn more about math, or I would like to learn more about language." I always give the opportunity to do that, because also in the Netherlands, the teachers get an amount of money every year, in the primary school, about €500 for education. So if they see something they want to develop, they come to me and they ask, "Can I do that course, or can we together do that course?" And most of the time, if it's in line with the education we do, I agree on that, because it develops the whole school.
Yeah. So how do you approach the teachers that are maybe not as intrinsically motivated to learn?
Most of the other teachers have the conversation. It's rare that I have to advise them, and I do have teachers who say, I know enough, but then I can get them in contact with other teachers, and then we have a shared conversation. And so I hope that they realize that they have to do something more, because when I push them, the course won't have any impact, because that's something they have to do, and that's something I don't want. I always want them to be inner motivated to do so. So I get them. We say we have a meeting about the math group, and I let that person join, and then they realize. I hope they realize, and they said, "Let me do a." And also I'd say other teachers, if you want a course, for instance, do a math, take him or her with you, because she needs some support on starting a course and doing it together. It also helps people to learn. So that's how I do it as a school leader. And I think the school leader have to be an example. What you preach, you have to do it yourself as well.
So how do you do that? How do you personally keep developing and learning?
I do a course about every year. It can be a big course like I did last year, 2 years, or it can be small courses or going to conferences. And that's what I share as well with my staff. So if you're an example that you educate yourself and you're never ready in learning, that also gives the example that they are allowed, they want to, yeah.
Ben, if you would rate your school at how well the teachers are learning and developing on a scale of 1 to 10, how well would you rate it? And why also?
Okay, I can say something to that. Our school is performing very well in terms of results. On the other hand, I'm not too positive about the learning capacity of our school, because we're very traditional. We're a Dalton school, developed by Helen Parkhurst in the United States a long time ago. And we see in terms of skills that we want to give our students to be successful in life, for instance, like 21st century skills like computational thinking, we have a lot to learn that we don't do. We just focus on the core subjects, and the students do very well, but in terms of development and in terms of learning from staff, we are pretty mediocre, I would rate our school. So we're making little steps, but we still have a long way to go in order to be more modern, to be more relevant in society.
Yeah.
Because it's more than about what I said earlier, the subjects.
Yeah. So for you, it's not just on a teacher individual level, but it's also a cultural shift that really needs to happen inside of the school. And do you have any ideas on how you want to approach that?
We want to put more mandate lower in the organization. The teams would have to think about what kind of school do we want to be? What does a secondary student needs to be equipped with in order to be successful? So that the problem statement has been developed in the team. And the team realizes this is what we see, what is happening, and this is what we're going to do about it. So that works better, in my opinion, than a leadership that will declare a policy or a strategy, because
so more like the
it wouldn't be
bottom-up
shared.
approach.
A bottom-up approach, yeah.
Yeah. Give more autonomy, but also more responsibility, maybe.
Indeed, and it takes a long time because teachers are not used to that kind of strategic thinking.
And how deliberate do you think learning should be? Do you think it should be something that is just happening more natural, where a teacher just kind of goes with the flow? Or do you think there should be some sort of cycle or some sort of plan or some sort of very deliberate strategy on making sure the teachers keep learning?
In all we do, we would like to evaluate what we're doing. So the plan, do, check, act cycle will be evaluated in order to improve our performance. And I also believe in not an overall approach, but more adapted to the needs of a particular teacher or a team, which could differ quite significantly from other teams. So, for instance, just like every individual is unique, every teacher is unique, has own ambitions and affiliations with particular themes. So I also think that we should cater to that personal interest in order to be successful. Because if you really like something, you want to go for it. And if you have to do something which you don't like, you're not inspired, I don't think that's going to work.
That's what Janette was also saying earlier. It has
Yeah.
to come from within that.
It comes from within, and to add to that, that's what I'd always try to look into the people. What's your interest, and then you give them the responsibility, and that's why they get the inner motivation to learn more about it. You better learn things you're good in to get better than learn something you don't feel you're so good in. Because if you're better in your thing you're motivated for, the other thing's getting up as well, because you're getting a broader view.
I think that's a particularly interesting topic, because we used to focus in the Netherlands on the things we're not good at. Our students that not perform very well in a couple of subjects, we will put extra effort in it, extra lessons, assistance. But on the other hand, why not focus on things that you're good at? If you're, for instance, you got a grade like a 7, why not work hard to get an 8? Because you're going to do the things in life that you're good at, not the things that you're bad at. So more focus towards the things that you're good at would be better, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's also to what you were saying earlier. As a school head, you're setting the example for the teacher, but as a teacher, you're also setting the example for the child. And if the teacher has to do the learning that they don't like, then what kind of image does that give off to the children?
And that's also what some of my teachers, not all of them, some of my teachers do. They share their class, their course they're doing with the children. Last week I had a teacher who is doing a course on language, and she said, I had a course on language. I want to try this with you because they said children like it, but I want to know about it from you. So she shared with the children that she's doing a course, and the children, yes, teacher, in the end, did you like it? Was it good? Yes, it did. You have to do it more often this way. So that's also good. That is exactly what you're saying. It's an example for the children that education brings you further.
Yes, beautiful. So if you had a teacher and they want to learn, but you don't know yet what they want to learn, what kind of question would you ask them to get to know their desire?
Probably like, what are your interests and what is important to you that you want to provide also to our students, and in what options do you see to develop yourself and also the students. And I see wonderful examples of particularly of teachers that have special projects like First World War, and they're so motivated and they make it really wonderful, and their enthusiasm really brings our students forward. The other issue with that approach is that sometimes it's like a hobby from a teacher, and we're more than a bunch of teachers with hobbies in the school. So we have to find the right mix between the things we have to do and the things we want to give them for the future life, and to put that in a particular balance.
Yeah.
So finding the mix, but we need that enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one gets motivated by things we only have to do. We want to make our own decisions.
True. So before we round off, I want to give both of you the opportunity to either ask the other person a question or to give a piece of advice to the listener. And maybe we can start with you.
My piece of advice to the listener is, if you want to develop, look for help. You can't develop yourself without communication with other people. So if you want to develop, look at other people, speak with other people, and that's the first start of developing yourself in a broader way.
Nice.
My advice would be just not to be bothered too much by rules and regulations, but go back to the meaning. Why do we do this? Why do we want to educate students, and put a little bit of a personal touch into all that we're doing? We decide what's going to happen in the classroom, and we make it special. Yes. And take some risk. Maybe it's not allowed what we do, but take some risk and give students a special experience in order to look back on their school time as a wonderful time in their life to prepare them for their future ahead of them.
I like that. Where can people find you? Somewhere online, your school, your personal handles?
I'm the headmaster of Maurik College in Vught, and if you Google for Maurik College in Vught, you will probably find me as well there.
You can find me in Heerdegewaard, the north of Holland. I'm the school leader of the Hasselbraam. It's a Dutch word. And you can find me at thehasselbraam.nl.
Perfect. Thank you both for your time. That was very interesting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You can visit esha.org/headstart for more information on the research cards and the guests of this episode. This podcast was an Esha production. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.